everyone, and welcome back. I am so excited to show you how the vegetable garden is going. I figured everything is just getting ginormous. We have like a tomato jungle. Everything is finally putting on some fruit. And I have some little critters that I am trying to deal with. So I figured, why not go ahead and do a June vegetable garden tour? If you have been with me from mid-February, we started these tomatoes back the day after Valentine's Day, as well as peppers. And it was a tremendous task to get them acclimated when it was time to harden them off. Plus, we had a big cold snap, which kind of stunted my peppers. So I wanted to show you what the vegetable garden looks like. Was it worth starting all of these tomatoes so early on, having a hard time keeping up with them? Because let's face it, some of my cherry tomatoes were at least 2 to 3 feet tall. They were starting to become very hard to manage and water as the roots were just pouring out of the bottom of my solo cups. So I wanted to show you what everything looks like. Today is July 19th. It is a gorgeous Saturday. Oh, I cannot tell you enough how happy I am that it's cooler out this morning. We were actually in the 50s tonight, but it's going to be warming up. So let's take a look at what everything looks like here in the vegetable garden. Oh, and also, hi, if you're new here, my name is Kristy. I am located in Massachusetts Zone 6A. Now, this is my second year vegetable gardening. I was learning a lot from YouTube, and I wanted to just show my experience as someone that is a mom of 2. I work full time. You know, you have a house to attend. I used to do a farm share where it did everything for me. Well, my goal was to bring the farm share to my house. So last year I built every single raised bed myself. We put up fencing. I started everything just about from seed, minus a few peppers I got on sale towards the end of the year. And now we are trying to also bring the cut flowers to the house, but we're not talking about cut flowers today. We are just going to focus on all of the vegetables. With that being said, I did take down all my sugar snap peas. We direct sowed those back, I believe, in April. I'll put the date up here. But they did give me about 2 or 3 rounds of good harvests. They were starting to die back, so I did take those down, and I am planting some gourds to see if I can get some miniature gourds in time for the fall. I was pushing the date. It was actually very late to start them, so we'll see if they do produce anything. So behind me, before we go inside, look at these sunflowers. They are easily like 8 feet tall. They are in raised garden beds. They are 3 cedar plank fences high. So they do have that going for them, but they are monstrous. And I'm like, how am I going to harvest these later on? That will be a challenge, especially because a lot of these were just like a mystery seed pack. You don't know exactly what you're planting. And there's some branching out types. One did fall over. We do have a lot of winds this morning. It was actually going around to all my tomato plants and corralling them because we had some good gusts yesterday. It kind of knocked some of them down because they are so dang tall. So let's take a look over with the cherry tomatoes first. So from an outside look, we have our cherry tomatoes right here. We have 1, 2 pepper beds. Then we have these monstrous sunflowers, but underneath them are my squash and zucchini. And behind, there's actually a trellis over there with cucumbers. If we pan over to our left, I have 1, 2 beds full of determinate tomatoes. They are getting extremely high. And I do have a cattle panel that arches right here with a bunch more cherry tomatoes. And behind it over there are green beans. I have some raspberries back in this corner that we'll also take a look at with some blackberries. So this is just what it looks like from the outside. All right, first I'm going to show you my cherry tomatoes. So we have mostly sun golds over here. Directly behind me are my super sweet 100s, and then off over to the side is going to be a mix of yellow pear, and then anything I had left over. So it's kind of like a little mix match of everything. Now, we planted these out a little bit before my first frost date, and then we got hit with a big cold snap. It did not stunt them. They've been actually producing a lot of fruit. However, Chippy and his friends have been whining and dining on all of my cherry tomatoes. I will show you what it looks like at the bottom. There is just tomato peels. I even had 2 beautiful ripe determinate tomatoes that they knocked down off the vine and dined on as well. So I haven't been able to enjoy my tomato harvest, which is so sad because I started these so early. They are very tall. They have been producing, but I have been just leaving them on the vine for too long. So unfortunately, I haven't had too much to harvest, maybe a handful or 2. So now I know every single morning and every single night, I go check all of my tomatoes. And once they start to blush, I will pick them off the vine early. And I have a basket on my kitchen countertop by the window where they will ripen in the sun, and then I will just enjoy them after they have fully ripened in my favorite tomato dish ever. So it's just a lot to do for my hard work. Chippy has been enjoying. I don't mind sharing a little bit, but definitely not everything he has been taking. So let me show you over to the tomatoes. So this is actually the last bed I planted, but it gets the most morning sun. As you can see, it is big, full, and bushy. We have been dealing with some blight because of all the rain, but they are just growing over. I mean, look how tall these sunflowers are. Holy moly. And then one did get knocked down, but it is still hanging in strong, and I am leaving it until at least it blooms. So this is a lot of my yellow pears. Here are the super sweet 100. They are actually taller than the trellis, so I have been just corralling them around and around. Let's see if I can show you. So I went in this morning and just kept wrapping it to try and help them to stay up. Unfortunately, we do have some early signs of blight. So I've been trying to deal with that just because of the fact that we've been getting so much rain. So we do have some starting to ripen. Oh, and we have some hiding in here. Oh, and then up here. So we have been getting fruit galore. However, Chippy, if I can bring you down here, has been feasting on a lot of my sun golds. The sun golds have been hit hard with blight, so I'm trying to clean that up. But we do have a lot of fruit that I am going to be harvesting today. We have to appreciate this red bee balm. It has been bringing in the hummingbirds. It is just beautiful. All right, so again, here are the tomatoes. They are just towering over. Yes, let's see if we can find Mason. You want to pick some tomatoes? Yeah, okay. Do you see one? Red. Yep, go ahead, pick the red. Get it. Yeah, show me your tomato. Wow. It is a ball. All right, next we're going to be moving on to the peppers. Pepper. Show me the peppers. Where are the peppers?
We're here.
Yeah. All right, next we're going to show you the peppers. So my peppers are finally starting to take off. Unfortunately, they were definitely stunted when we had our cold snap. You want to pick the pepper? Gotta be gentle. Here. Show me your pepper. Oh my goodness. So these are the little snacker peppers.
Snake.
It looks like a snake?
Yeah.
No, it's not a snake. They did get stunted, but they are taking off now. We do have some smaller ones here. These are like the jalapeno and the snacker peppers. And then we have these little lemon drop ones. And we have been picking them off, and it's so nice to be able to take them whenever I need them for a dish. And I did move my zinnias, but I did leave one in here. They are just so pretty. They'll help bring in the pollinators. All right, now this pepper bed has finally taken off. This is mostly bell peppers. There are a few other ones, but they are finally taking off. We have some little peppers. These are ones that I had from my farm share. If you let them go, they will turn red. But I honestly just pick them when they're green. Oh, let's leave that. It's not ready. Oh, did you pick another tomato?
Yeah.
So I just want to show you how I corralled them. I put in posts on the outside and then just wrapped around, but also, hopefully you can see, maybe if I come this way. I made a giant X. So just to help keep them up as they are growing, they will slowly intermingle and help support one another. But I see a nice one coming in right here. We've also had beetles pretty bad, but they're just eating on the leaves. So these are my 2 pepper plants. So again, we have our bell peppers. We started in mid-February, and we also have all of our snack peppers and jalapenos over there. All right, let's take a look at the sunflowers and the zucchini. All right, now look how tall these sunflowers are. We started these back in the greenhouse with Madeline. I'll put the date over here for you, but they are just ginormous and I am so excited. So I'm going to be making sure I leave one of the main heads to harvest seed from, but a lot of them have side branches, so I will be able to use those for my cut flower garden. And underneath them are my squash and zucchini. Last year I tried to grow them vertically and didn't have any luck, but this year I'm having luck just plopping them in the ground and letting them do their thing. Now I kid you not, I was gonna pick this the other day and it has gotten so much bigger. We're definitely gonna need to pick this because this is just so big. Love zucchini. This is normally the size I would get it at. There's another one growing over here. And this is the green machine by Johnny's. Oh, look, we have one peeking in there. Oh, and another one down here. This is probably more zucchinis than I had all last year. And then behind, I do have my yellow summer squash, but nothing quite ready yet. But I am just loving these sunflowers. Look how cute this is. And it's branching too, which makes me so happy because I can use this for my flower stand. And then we do have some smaller ones. And then, I mean, I kid you not, look. It just keeps on going. All right, now behind me next is the cucumbers, and they are also as well going over the trellis. So I planted too many, which we did talk about when I was planting these with you guys. I probably put like 12 of them, shoved them in, and we do have some cucumbers. So we're gonna go on the other side behind the leaves so you can see what it looks like. All right, so we do have a cucumber here. I do like the straight 8 variety. And you can just see there's just so many flowers. We have another cucumber hidden, but they are just trying to find somewhere to hang on to. So I'm just always trying to direct them and hook them back so they can just intertwine again. But yeah, it is just chaotic. Oh, look, we have some here, and I do have some dill. It just has flopped. It's not getting the sun that it needs anymore. The cucumbers have just completely taken over, and weeds as well, but here are the cucumbers. All right, and we have our green bean patch. These are all of my bush beans. I actually got 2 good harvests out of them. They are still flowering, and there's also some smaller pea pods right here that we'll give them a few more days, and then we will be harvesting it again. They do share a bed over here. We do have another trellis of tomatoes. It's a mix of Sun Gold and Super Sweet 100s. But yes, these have just fully bushed out, and they've been getting a good amount of sunlight, even with the cattle panel right there. Now here is that cattle panel. I had to help tie them, but they are growing and growing along this arch and producing lots of fruit. Now look at this. One of my favorite parts is when they start to fruit, and you can just come on over and pluck from the bottom. All right, now it's time to take you to my tomato jungle. These determinate tomatoes we planted and started back on February 15th. I was a little bit wary if I should start them this early, but I wanted to because the previous year I was unable to harvest very many ripened tomatoes. I felt like I just picked a bunch of green tomatoes, let them blush and ripen inside the house. And this year I didn't want to worry about that. I wanted the tomatoes early. We probably were able to get maybe like 10 or 12 or so, but for the amount of tomatoes that I had, I just felt like it wasn't worth it. And I started them about 8 weeks, as the seed packet said, prior to my average last frost date, which is in the middle of May. So let's take you in. I want to show you what's happening now. I already mentioned before, I did have 2 nice larger tomatoes ripening. I think they were a yellow and a pink one. Unfortunately, the chipmunks got to them, and I also did have some bunnies in here. That is why I added baby gates on either entrance to keep the bunnies out. But since then, I don't think that they have been around any longer, but I want to take you into my tomato jungle. Let's go. All right, here is a zoomed out view. So all of my determinate tomatoes are here. This determinate one does share with the sun golds and cherries as well. But as we get closer, you can see that I just have been taking string. I tie it to my cattle panel and literally just do one big hug around, because they are getting so tall that they are taller than my 6-foot stakes right here. A foot or so is in the ground, but still they're just too tall. But I do have some nice tomato clusters over here, which I am thrilled about. But like I said, I did have some ripening. I don't know if I can still see. Let's see. Oh, there's the skin. It's hiding over here, my yellow one from when the chipmunk or something knocked it down. Again, we are dealing with some early signs of blight, which I've been trying to get on top of, but that's okay. But there's some tomatoes over here. Now, I do have some in grow bags and in pots in the front. I do have some more tomatoes coming. Nothing has fully ripened yet, but that's okay. These are still tied to the 6-foot stakes. They still have some room. The ones in the grow bags are doing pretty well. I do also have some fruit on them. This one, not so, oh, wait, we do. We have one teeny tiny one up there, but I do have some flowers. And as you can see, hopefully here with the second tomato bed, I have my twine just hugging onto them as well. Now, I also want to show you how I heavily prune the bottoms. So I try and take up as much foliage as I can. Again, we do have some blight happening, so I'll trim back those later. But this is a good 1.5 feet or so where I just try and keep trimming. As the branches get taller, I will just keep taking away anything that shows any signs of disease. My herbs right here, my basil, I have been harvesting at least once or twice a week and bringing it to work. And I always have my nasturtiums. A lot of these were direct sown, spilling out as a trap crop. And I also do have my marigolds, which are getting too tall and knocked over from the trees, but they are still doing well as they're just hanging off the side. All right, now over here, I have to show you these containers that we did. So I have these buckets, and I've got these for free on the side of the road, the cages, and I have been training my cucumbers here to kind of just go on the fence so they can grow all around those. And my Kentucky pole beans have been doing the same. Don't mind the mess in the background, but I am training them to just go along the fence. And then we do have our cucumbers here as well. Let me show you the other side. So past our blackberries and raspberry patch, which is starting to also flower. Madeline has just picked them off as she sees them basically. So not much has been making it inside, but these ones we're also training to go on the fence as well. So these will just wrap and wrap and wrap around, but I had to show you these cucumbers. So this was my brilliant idea of just shoving a bunch of seeds in, letting them go, and then letting them just vine on the fencing that we have to keep the rabbits out. We also have some random pots with some of our indeterminate tomatoes. As you can see, they are also being supported nicely as well. All right, it's starting to heat up, so I'm gonna head on inside with my little guy, but we will be doing some harvesting definitely later tonight. I have to get that cucumber and that zucchini, especially that zucchini, before it gets any bigger, because I swear it grew like another inch overnight. But I hope you enjoyed my garden tour of the vegetables. Again, even though the peppers were stunted for a little while, once it really started to warm up this past month, they have taken off, especially the tomatoes as well. I'm hoping I can still keep those little pesky chipmunks away from my tomatoes so I can finally make my favorite pasta dish without having to go to the supermarket and buying my own tomatoes. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this little visit. Let me know in the comments below how your vegetables are doing as well. And also don't forget to go ahead and hit like and subscribe and hit that bell button. And I will see you all next time. Happy gardening. Bye.